Say something!
We all go a little mad sometimes. Hello everyone and welcome to day 11 of Terrorthon, Rancid Remakes. Now, in spite of the alliterative name, we're not talking about bad remakes today, we're strictly talking about some good ones. Because, as we all know, shitty remakes are a dime a dozen, so we're not even going to bother mentioning them. Okay, so let's start with The Fly. The original came out in 1956 and was a sci-fi sensation. Light on gore, quite a bit of cheese, and had that iconic scene of the woman screaming through the fly's eyes. Good movie. And then in 1986 along came a remake by David Cronenberg. This verged into the body horror subgenre. It was very graphic, very gruesome. Now this is a tough one. Can we say this is better than the original? I think so, but I also think that the original is overlooked because this movie's just so damn good. Next we have Dawn of the Dead. The original came out in 1978 and is my favourite movie of all time, so it's very hard for the remake to beat it in this case. It was much slower and creepier than the remake. Then the remake in 2004 had Running Zombies, which were the flavour of the month at that time. So a lot of people do prefer the remake. It's much faster paced and it doesn't recreate the original shot for shot, same as The Fly. The Fly doesn't do that either. These are all very different remakes. And yeah, so as I say, some people prefer the remake of Dawn of the Dead. I personally don't, but if you do, that's totally cool. Next we have The Thing from Another World. Now John Carpenter, who directed the remake, which was simply called The Thing, obviously had a great fondness for the original movie. It shows up in the Halloween movies, and it cameos in other places in John Carpenter projects as well. Again, the original is slower paced and more sci-fi oriented, and yet again the remake is pure body horror. The special effects were, if you'll pardon the pun, out of this world. I personally prefer the remake in this case, but again, I know some people prefer the original. Next we have Ringu, or The Ring as it's known as outside of Japan. Japanese horror is an interesting one. In my experience, Japanese horror is a lot slower all of the time and relies more on psychological scares, no jump scares. I just think the American style suits this type of movie better, and it still had plenty of psychological scares as well. Now we have Ju-on the Grudge, which was the original Japanese title of just The Grudge, as it became to be known in America. Exactly like The Ring, it relies more on slow psychological creeps than it does with in-your-face jump scares, but again, in my personal opinion, the jump scare format works better for this one. And now we have a very interesting case, It. The original book was by Stephen King, as I'm sure everyone knows. The original movie was actually a TV movie that came out in 1990, and the remake only came out very recently, but it was split into two movies. So the thing is, It Chapter 1, or just It, is way better than the TV version, but It Chapter 2 sucked, in my opinion. I didn't like it. So I have a suggestion for you guys. If you want to try something different, watch the first half of the remake of It, not Chapter 2, and then watch the second half of the original TV version. That'll be really interesting, I think. That would really up the surrealness of the whole experience. Let me know how you get on with that. And that is a choice selection of good horror remakes, and I will see you tomorrow.